Everyone, welcome back to yet another video of our development series. In this video, we are going to learn about GitHub and how can we configure GitHub using SSH in our PC so that we can remotely make push and pull code from the GitHub. So before actually diving how can we configure GitHub in our system, it's important that we understand the architecture of your system. It's mostly same for all the architecture, but yet it differs from time to time and at some places depending upon which operating system your system is having. So for understanding how can we configure SSH in our GitHub system or in our laptop or any PC, we have to follow few steps. So the first thing we have to do is we have to install Git in our system. So I will just share my screen and I will open up the terminal and we will be good to go. So I will now fire up my terminal and we will install Git on our system. My system is a Ubuntu based system. I am using Linux. So the commands for Linux and the Mac users are more or less similar because they use the same kernel. So the first thing which you have to do is sudo apt install git. So you have to install Git file systems in your PC so that you can make push and pull request and you can manage the version controlling of your files. So once that is done, I see that Git is already in the newest version since I've already done that previously. So it is showing that Git is already present in my system. So I will write here Git, and as long as you can see some text after writing the Git and not any sort of error, you will be good to go and Git will be installed on your system. Right, done till now. Now we will open up any random browser and we will search and we will begin our configuration next steps. So I'm in my Chrome. So let's open up my Chrome and we will directly write GitHub. Right. So once you write GitHub, it will come up to the landing page of GitHub. It will be showing us many things. Okay. It is showing us many things and this is my GitHub profile. So the thing which I'm looking for is to configure GitHub. And so for that I have to type here to find out the docs or the documentation of the GitHub. So I have to go to the home place and I'm not actually finding it. So the better way is to just search directly google.com and we'll search directly GitHub SSH. Okay, so once you write GitHub SSH, the first link which you get is the place which we are going to intend. So once we reach here, we need to search for connect with SSH and generate new SSH keys. So this is a place where we have been looking for. So you can directly search in the GitHub docs for SSH and you will land up over here eventually. So you have to select your operating system in first place. So I'm using Linux. It will detect automatically in most of the cases, but in case it does not detect your system, you have to click on the system that you're using. So I'm using Linux, so Linux is already selected. Now I will go down to generating a new SSH keys and here the commands are given. I will read out the commands, paste it in our terminal and we will be good to go. So let's bring up our terminal. So our terminal is present over here and I will just copy this and paste the thing. Now in this place, I have been asked that your email example.email.com. So in this place, we have to enter our own personal email ID with which we have our GitHub account. You must have your GitHub account for doing this. If you do not have your GitHub account, there is no sense for doing all this. Okay, so first I recommend you to adjust yourself with the GitHub, how the file versioning and the GitHub is managed. Then you have some concept of Git. Then you learn how to push codes to GitHub. Git and GitHub are completely different and I will come up with that in some other tutorial, but for this video you need to understand what is Git, what is GitHub from beforehand if you want to understand the depth of this video. So I was in the place where I have to write my email ID, so I will write my email ID over here. So this is my email ID with which I have my GitHub account. So I will press enter, so it is saying me that enter the file name where you want to save your SSH keys, because this will create a new SSH keys which will allow me to make requests to GitHub. So I will not write anything over here. I will simply press enter it is asking us for the passphrase. Most of the cases we leave the passphrase as empty. In case you want to add your passphrase, be sure to remember it, because every time you make a pull request or push request from GitHub, you need to enter that passphrase. So I personally don't like to use passphrase, so I will leave it blank, and again press enter, and it is saying that my SSH keys is generated. Now once this is done, we'll come back to this place, right? And it's saying us the stuffs which we have done just now. Now next thing which we have to do is we have to run this command so that the SSH client runs in background after my laptop or my PC gets booted up. So let's paste this now. So it will return me a process ID which will run my SSH client in the background. Now once this is done, and you need to add our SSH keys. All right, so let's add it. Press enter. So it is saying as that the identity has been added for this email ID. Make sure your email ID is correctly written over here, otherwise you may end up with facing some issues. Now we are done with this. The next step is in our GitHub account, where we will add the SSH keys. So once this is done, we'll come to our GitHub account. So right, GitHub account. So I will not navigate out of this page. I'll simply go to a new tab and we'll write GitHub. So my GitHub account is open over here. I will go to the profile page, and this side I will go to settings. Inside the settings, I will come up here at SSH and GPG keys. Okay. Now once this is done, this is the place which I have to blur out because some sensitive informations are there. I cannot reveal them. So for this, so now I will add a new SSH key for this system. So I will click on new SSH keys. So here it is asking us to enter the SSH keys. Now an important point over here is you may not be able to find out the SSH keys. So for that, you have to fire up your terminal. You have to understand where is this place this SSH keys are stored. So I can see that ssh.add/sh means it is in my home directory. So let me go to my home directory, which is 2 steps back from the desktop. Now here, when you do a ls, you will not be able to find the hidden folders because .sh means it is hidden. So if I do ls-al, I will end up seeing my SSH keys, which is .sh, as you can see over here. So I will simply do .sh cd. Okay, so I am in my SSH folder. I will do an ls. Now I can see that my keys and few files are present. Now inside these files, I have my GPG and SSH keys. So I will do nothing. I will take any random code executor or code editor to open that files. So I will fire up my VS Code over here, and as my VS Code will open over here, I can browse to various files which is present over here, and I can find my SSH keys. So I can see various things are present over here, so I have to trust it. Okay, so authorized fields, many things are present. So the thing which I've been looking for is this one. Remember this one. Okay, so I have to paste this thing in this place in my GitHub. So let's see where it is. So I have to copy from here this part, Control C, and here I have to paste it. As simple as that. Fine. Next, you have to enter a title, Lenovo Ubuntu. This is my PC name. I can find it easily like this. Okay, now then I will click on add SSH keys. Now I need to use my GitHub mobile for authentication. So I can also use my password for doing that. For the time being, I will use my password. So let me use my password for this. Once my password is entered, I will end up reaching over here. So I have blurred it so that it's not visible because these are private informations. So I can see my SSH keys are now added. So it will be same for you. So how can we check this whether our configuration has been done properly or not? So for that, just go to GitHub and you need to create a new repository. So click on new repository and so I will write over here repository name as test. Okay, description, a test to learn Git. Keep it public for the time being. I will delete it shortly after I'm done. So we don't need any of these things. Just create repository. Now after we create repository, kind of things are displayed over here. So let's do that. So for this, before pushing our code to GitHub, we need to Git is able to track it. So let's create a new folder which we want to push to our GitHub. So let's make or write it at test. Okay, so I will open my terminal in this test folder and I will do a ls, and I can see obviously nothing is there. So I need to push some files. So for pushing some files, let us make some text file. So I will write touch text.txt. Okay, so this is a text file. So if I do ls, my files are visible. Now remember that Git only tracks files. Git is not able to track folders. If you want to push folders to GitHub, you need to make files inside the particular folder and you need to then push the folder itself. Okay, so once my text.txt is present over here, let me do a ls again. Okay, so I have to check the Git status. Okay, it is saying that this is not a Git repository. So for making this as a Git repository, you need to write git init. So once this is done, this will initialize this repository as a Git repository and Git will start tracking changes in this folder. So once this is done, I will just need to add this file which I have made just now to the Git file system. So git add space dot. So once this is done, my text.txt is added and Git is tracking changes in this file. So for doing this, I will write commit so that I commit my changes and add a checkpoint at this point of time when the file is created. And once you commit, you already or always need to supply a message so that it's easier for you to understand what changes have you made. So I will just write a message, say git commit -m new file created. Okay, and then press enter. Okay, so it is saying me that author identity is unknown. Please tell me who you are. This is quite obvious because when you are trying to make a change for the first time, you will end up seeing this. So you need to run these things and you need to configure Git first, then you need to push them. This is quite obvious if you are doing Git for the first time. So I have to write the command git config global user.email. Okay, simply copy this, paste the thing, and inside this you have to write your email ID with which your GitHub account is registered. Okay, gmail.com. Okay, you have to press enter. Once that is done, remember your email should be correct, otherwise it will create issues. And git config global username, and this part also you have to copy and simply paste over here, and here you have to write your name. That means who is the author of this file and who is making this changes to Git. Okay, once this is done, I will run git commit again, new file created. Okay, so it is saying that one file change, 0 insertion, 0 deletion. My Git is now tracking and it has successfully added a checkpoint at this point of time to the file that was created. Okay, now if I do a git status over here, let's see what we get. So once you do a git status over here, it will say us that we are on branch main and we have nothing to commit. All the files are updated to the Git file system. Okay, now once that is done, I will come to GitHub. Next, what I have to do is I have to push an existing repository. This is not needed. These are all the things which you have done till now. Okay, so I have to just copy this line and just paste this line by line. So I'm writing git remote add origin. So we have to add the origin of the GitHub in my local file system. So once you press enter, my remote origin has been added. Okay, once this is done, just copy this branch m. So it is saying that git remote add origin to this place means GitHub in my GitHub. Now it is saying that this main branch which I have seen just now it was master over here. So I am telling that this master and main on my local file system are same. Okay, so Git sometimes understands this by default, but it is important that you mention. So once you press enter, my branch main and master are similar. Now the last step which you have to do is git push -u origin main. Now in some case you may notice that some users are not using -u, because if you write simply git push origin main, it simply will push the things to your GitHub. That's easy. But -u means to set up an upstream. So once you write -u, the next time when you push some code to your GitHub, you can simply write git push and it will happen automatically. You do not need to write -u origin main. So that's a convenience feature. You can write it also, you can not write it also, but I recommend you to write this because it will simplify you and easier make your work easier, right? So once that is done, you will press enter and it will ask us that, are you sure you want to push this? Yes, I am sure. So it is saying that verification failed, could not read from. Okay, so I have to write yes over here. Yes. Okay, so it is saying that permanently we added github.com and we are able to push our code to GitHub. So how can we check whether our file is here or not? Simply refresh this page, and if you end up seeing that text.txt is present over here and nothing is written, that's quite obvious. And you can see that our repository is successfully pushed from our desktop to our GitHub. So let's make some change to this file and let's see whether we are able to see the changes in our GitHub. So simply open the code editor over here, say VS Code. Okay, and let's write some or make some changes in this. So I have seen a Git folder over here. Don't touch it, it's not important. Okay, if you mess up with that file, you will not be able to push changes to GitHub. Okay, so let me write I am Siddharth from India. Okay, I am an aspiring software engineer, aspiring developer. That's it. So I want to push this change from my local file system to my GitHub. So how will I do this? It's no mistake to do git status again and again so that you can understand what is the status of your file. So simply write git add space dot. You can simply write git add text.txt, but that's easy for us to simply write a dot. So again you have to write a commit message, commit -m, and so changed the contents of a file. So what have you done, or what is the name of the checkpoint? So to mention over here. So press enter, then simply write git push. Now this time we do not have to write git push or -u origin main because we have already set up the upstream previously. So simply I can write git push and it will push the changes from my local directory to my GitHub. So it is saying that compressing object delta compression up to 16 thread. That's not important for us. Okay, so let's go to GitHub again. Let us do a refresh and can see that the checkpoint has been added. Let's open this and we can see that the changes which I've made just now in my local file system is reflecting in GitHub. So that's it. We have successfully configured GitHub in our system and we have added SSH keys, and we can make remote push and pull requests from my system to the GitHub cloud. So that's all in this video. I will see you in the next video where we'll learn about many things in the upcoming tech domain. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.